Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It is still in the description below. It is still your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we are discussing a 2020 model year launch from Mb&F Max Busser and Friends. Beware of dog. It's the Mb&F HM10 Bulldog in titanium. In grade 5 titanium, the watch is irregularly shaped. It's 24 millimeters thick at its thickest. I measure it at 53.7 millimeters from end to end, and the shoulders of the Bulldog measure 45 millimeters across. Now, the strap is highly unconventional. This is all custom, but if you did want to have it tailored, you would want one strap 22 millimeters across, that's the reverse, and then the forward strap is 31 millimeters across, but rest assured you're going to want the factory spec because it is perfectly equipped and matched to this watch, both in color and in character. A Velcro closure, you can see, it's a combination of a calfskin, which is embossed to look like it's textile, and then we have a Velcro closure, so we have a buckle that doesn't actually have a pin, and it's a combination of polish and satin, just like the case itself. The case, grade 5 titanium, so you're looking at a combination of sapphire and grade 5 ties. So this is a fairly resilient watch. Grade 5 is lighter than steel, it's hypoallergenic like grade 2, but unlike grade 2, it's a bit harder and more scratch resistant, and it can be polished, which grade 2 cannot. So throwing the watch on the wrist, it's a little bit unconventional in terms of how it fits. It's idiosyncratic, but you're gonna have to take my word for it. This actually fits fairly well. And that's because the Bulldog has articulated limbs. So after the debacle of the HM2, Mb&F sort of developed an internal guideline that even a big watch has to be wearable on a normal human wrist. So if your wrist is 15 centimeters circumference and up, and you don't mind the outlandish aesthetic, this watch will fit. It will not, however, fit underneath the cuff. Again, the Velcro, very tight and secure closure, which is nice because unlike a perforated strap with pinholes, you have infinite adjustability to tune. The legs of the Bulldog do give you a little bit of articulation, though the ones at the back don't move much, if at all. The ones at the front, however, do have quite a bit of motion dialed in. So you've got a large range right here, and then you've got a case that's fairly flat in and of itself, but the balance assembly and the time display swell it dramatically. Now, quick note about this watch. Simon Brett recently, sensation, making watches under his own name, but for a long time he was a collaborator with Mb&F Max Busser and Friends, Mb&F, and Simon was one of the Fs. And I just saw him at the LV Watch Prize for Independent Creatives, and he has come along in incredible distance. But it's important to remember that this is sort of where he got his start as a movement constructor for hire before he worked under his own name. It's not often we have insights into what indie watchmaking stars did before they became stars, mostly because of non-disclosure agreements, whereas with Mb&F, every contributor, right down to the supplier of the strap, is acknowledged, so we have that insight. The watch sets unconventionally, so we've got one crown over here that is used to set the time, and we have two aluminum domes, or hemispheres, that display the time, and the indices are adjacent. So you can see, for example, right now, it's 6 o'clock. And now it's 6:05, and now it's 6:10. It's bidirectional. You can turn it in either direction. Like the Legacy Machine split escapement, we have the anchor and the escape wheel, as well as the balance staff, the roller table, and the balance assembly on the dial side. You can see we have nickel anthracite-coated satinated bridges and a little sort of grill design that shows you some of the mechanism beneath. An enormous 14-millimeter diameter recessed bolt aerodynamic free-sprung balance that can take and hold a precise regulation even in the face of shock, because of, yes, the free-sprung architecture, so we don't have a mobile stud index that could be displaced by shock. Variable inertia bolts in the rim are responsible for the timing changes. Then you've got this dual anchored steel balance bridge that provides a lot more support than a single-sided balance cock, and exquisitely you can see that steel bridge has been rounded all the way around and black polished. There's also an overcoil hairspring which ensures that in any position the Bulldog keeps unerring time. It beats away at 18,000 vibrations per hour, so like the Legacy machine featuring a similar split escapement design, that one also by Simon Brett. Here we have an enormous balance staff, so you can see how it lifts the balance over the dial, and then it has a nice slow pocket watch-like chug. Turning it over, there is a unconventional power reserve indicator. So you wind the watch with this crown right here. I'll do my best to show you this. But as you wind the watch, the jaws of the dog open wide. And so there's a manual wind, 45-hour power reserve. And when the jaws are shut, the watch is out of energy. When the jaws are open, the Bulldog with rapt attention, ready for action. It is a beautifully finished movement, as all of Mb&F's in-house calibers are. And you can see that the surfacing features lovely stripes, solarization on the ratchet wheel atop the barrel, black polished screws. Everything that could have a mirrored bevel absolutely does, including the jewel sinks. And even the individual train wheels feature beveled internal circumference and spokes, creating interior angles within the wheel. Very, very difficult to do. A beautiful thing to behold. And you can see we have this unusually shaped caseback sapphire designed to make it ergonomically more agreeable. Now, there's a nice contrast throughout of the satin and the polish, and that continues on the caseback. And of course, Max launched this in titanium and rose gold, but both of them say, forget the dog, beware of the owner. Words to live by. I would also say beware of the brand owner, because Max is a madman. But you could see what he hath wrought is impressive from a finishing and architectural standpoint. Not every horological machine appeals to everyone, but the nice thing about them is that they're all a lot of fun and executed with tongue in cheek. They don't take themselves too seriously, which is remarkably refreshing in the world of high-end watchmaking. This has a little bit more water resistance than you would expect of something like this. Normally you'd expect 30 meters. This is 50. I still don't recommend swimming with it, but it's nice to know you've got that slight extra margin for error. All of it pivoting on 34 jewels. There is just a lot to love here. And I think I should probably conclude by reminding you that this watchdog is also a night watchman, as we have a large amount of luminescence on the dial side in the dark. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.